Welcome or welcome back if you are a regular viewer of Merill Talk channel. I'm your host, Marc, fund manager at Merill Funds. I've been managing money for over 2 decades. Before we start our investment journey, I would like to thank IK Collections. We are recording at home, a boutique hotel in the heart of St. Julian's. If you're looking for a spa experience, you are at the right place. As you can see, Baluta Bay, very nice today. Following our last macro talk, we spoke about US, we spoke about Europe. In this episode, because we received some positive feedback, thanks for it, we will explore Germany and Japan, two nations who have been the loser of the Second World War, who have been positioning in a certain way. So I think it's time now to explore these two countries. If you like our content, don't hesitate to subscribe, or you can also visit our website, merillfunds.com. Thank you. Before we start our today agenda, let me read you the disclaimer. The content of these presentations have been prepared for general guidance and information purpose only. Any information provided through the presentation do not constitute financial investment, professional advice or recommendations. Thank you. So today our agenda will be first part history, second part Eurozone, third part will be economic figures in Germany at the moment, fourth part will be automobile industry and especially Volkswagen, fifth part will be political landscape, and sixth part will be demographic problem. The 20th century seems a distant past, but it remains the roots of our current macro landscape. So let's start today this episode on Germany, one of the main engines of Europe, and also a country quite familiar for us, if you know the emblematic automobiles like BMW, Porsche, Volkswagen. A brief history of Germany. As we know, Germany unification started under Bismarck, and he created the German Empire back into 1871. At the beginning of the 20th century, Germany was a powerful house, even surpassing UK. The German revolutions in 1918-1919 ended this German Empire, established the Weimar Republic. And following this star, several hyperinflations, impact of the Great Depressions, and we know how the Weimar Republic finished. As we know, the Nazi Party took place in 1933 up to the defeat of the Germans in World War II. After that, as we know, Germany was split in two parts, East and West. Germany expanded in a fantastic growth on the post-reunifications by absorbing the East part, adopt the Euro, and navigate to challenging issues. Now we are after this reunification, and that's why today we are coming with this video to explain how's the situation there from a macro perspective, but also from a political perspective, and we'll finish with the demographic approach. We cannot start our presentation on Germany without exploring what's the current context for the European Central Bank, because the European Central Bank is facing multiple challenges at the moment, and it's not the only central bank. As we know, also Fed has the same position in the difficult situations, knowing is it a persistent inflation or not. European Central Bank is navigating a complex landscape of inflation management, market expectations, communication strategy. The thing is it premature to expecting a rate cut? There is a lot of speculation on that side, and a lot of economists are predicting that the ECB will cut the rate in Q2 2024. That's the question here. So definitely the ECB is in the center of attentions at the moment, and a lot of speculations when the rate cut. I mean, definitely the same issue. If you know, Jerome Powell from the Fed say last week or week before that we have to expect a rate cut not in March, but probably later on. Now it's the monetary context. Now let's speak about little bit about the fiscal context, because as we know, the problem of Europe, it's like we have one central bank but different fiscal policies depending the country. Now, on the fiscal side, tighter budget rules in the Eurozone signal a shift. So a lot of countries are having a very austere, it seems, on the spending side, could impact definitely the growth here. So a lot of economists at the moment revise down the 2024 growth projection for the Eurozone and reflecting also a concern about this fiscal tightening. Now, on the top of that, we have new EU rules impact who could reduce the deficit, the debt, and affecting the high debt country like Italy. Now you can ask the questions, where do we stand with the business activity on the Eurozone? And honestly, it's not so good in the way because the Eurozone activity declined at a steeper rate than expected by the economists. Faster than anticipated, like I say, it could create like a lot of pressure on the economic landscape. And I'm talking about here not only service but also manufacturing who are in a contractions. But we can see, for example, the chart here. You can see here on the chart, this is the PMI, which is a good indicator of the activity contracting, not in good shape for Germany, definitely. Now you should ask the question, what's going on the demand side? And I can tell you also, as you can see here on the chart, consumer confidence index, it's more on the downtrend. Another interesting chart here, it's the retail and wholesale sales, like also in the downtrend, excluding here motor vehicles and motorcycles. Definitely not a good sign. Now, what about the GDP? You can ask the questions. Let me show you the chart. As you can see here, of course, there is like a distortions. COVID-19 has a major impact and also a positive impact, as we can see on the chart. Like, if you want to put the GDP in perspective compared to the other country in the Eurozone, have a look on this chart. It's coming from The Economist. It's quite interesting. What I'm saying here is German GDP contract by 0.3 last year due to the high inflations. It was the worst performing major economy of the last year. I want to finish the economic figures here with the employment rate, as you can see in the chart. Not so bad. And as we know also in US, the things are doing quite well, but the question is for how long. And now I will go in a very sensitive subject, which is the automobile industry and the part of GDP for the German economy. Two major impacts for the German economy. One, on the supply side, no more cheap Russian gas. Now on the demand side, it seems like the consumer, especially coming from China, are buying less car and especially less BMW, I should say. So definitely we're not going in the right direction for the German economy. You know, despite the stimulus on the German economy post-pandemic, Germany is still facing recessionary conditions and challenge as the consumer is not spending as we saw previously and the industry is not performing at all. The automobile industry represents quite a big part of the GDP, around 13%. And as we know, as we explore on our previous video, we spoke about the challenge for all these European automobile makers facing the competition of the Chinese. And what I'm saying, electrical car, and especially cheap electrical car. And this is a massive challenge. It's not like something that's temporary. It's here to change. Definitely Germany needs a lot of reform and I think a lot of challenge. I think during the Merkel era, we cannot call this reform took place at that time, definitely not. And now Germany, the after Merkel, the after pandemic, the challenge are quite huge. Like I said previously, the geopolitical context doesn't help. As we know, like a lot of roads, I'm talking about maritime road, have been stopped, not passing anymore to the Red Sea, taking like nearly more than 2 months just to reach Europe and have a massive impact on the supply side, but also for the people when they go to buy things, because the things coming, for example, from China, cheap product coming from China are taking like nearly 2 months to come. German car suppliers are struggling to adjust to the heavy shift. Why? As we know, combustible engines request a lot of spare parts, which is not the case for electrical vehicles. I'm saying this because they are facing problems. We know that the major firms, which is Bosch, ZF, are planning to significantly reduce their labor. And this is a problem. Definitely, it was expecting these electrifications of the vehicles, but has a direct consequence on labor reductions. Now, what's going on at the Volkswagen level? And a lot of concern, and even the CEO spoke about this. The CEO said, sorry, we have been missing the electrical vehicle, and also pointing in a direction of the government, say, the funding maybe will finish, and how's the next point here? Yes, so definitely the CEO of Volkswagen is going to the government based in Berlin, say, why you want to stop the funding, and it will have a consequence on us, a direct consequence. Definitely for me, if I'm talking about my personal experience, I was in China probably 10 years ago. I could see on the street a lot of Volkswagen car, and last summer, as you know, I was in China, in Shanghai to be specific, and honestly only Chinese model, not anymore Volkswagen models or Audi or any European cars, I would say, on the street. To add at this problem for Volkswagen, also issue on the government side and not so much clarity on the shareholders, not very good on the shareholders. And if you remember the scandal back 2015 on the diesel, there is also a push from the shareholders to bring more transparency at the level of Volkswagen. Yes, so the landscape doesn't seem like very nice on for the coming months, and I would say for the coming years. Now I will make a transitions in the direction of politics, because a lot of things going on also on the German politics, and I want to highlight a few of it. The first one, the German far-right party make elections breakthrough. The far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD, secured its first mayoral elections in Pirma, indicating a growing influence, which is a concern. It's a concern not only for Germany, but I think for the rest of Europe. As we know, often this kind of party, they are Eurosceptic. At the opposite of the spectrum, on the left side, far left side, they are try to attract the voters who are not happy with the current coalitions. In this way, like talking about immigrations, but also speaking about stopping the funding to the war in Ukraine, which is completely a different rhetoric that we know from a left party in Germany. So definitely, to conclude on the politics here, a lot of tensions the current coalition's government is facing from the left side, but also from the right side. So it will be very difficult to manage these issues, multiple issues, I will say, immigrations, war in Ukraine, for Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of Germany. I want to finish these presentations on the demographic, because often we speak about Japan, and we will see on a presentation on Japan. The demographics are not so good in Germany, and you can see here on the chart. The current population of Germany is 81.7 millions, and it's projected to decrease by 65 to 70 millions by 2060 due to the lower births, but also high death rate despite a net immigrations. To give you an idea, at the moment, the populations over 65 represent 23%. Now, obviously, the positive things is the life expectancy, which is doing quite well in Germany, 85 years for male and 89 for female. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please join us on this channel, but also on merillfunds.com. Thank you for your attention.